Hey, welcome to video number 3. We're going to be talking about the assignment operator and do a little bit of math so we can see how it works. And we're going to be using the console log feature so we can see it in our console whenever we're changing something or doing it something cool. So let's start with the very beginning. We're just going to write let x. We're going to make it feel very mathematical. And we're going to say let x equal 6. So it is just a number. So we're saying, hey, let there be a variable called x, and we're going to put inside of it. This guy right here is our assignment operator. So let 6 have the let x have the content of 6. And then let's make another one. Let y equal 7. Now the cool thing is we have both of these showing. So let's see what we have if we console.log x and we console y. So you can keep putting in parameters. Say we had a z, you could keep putting them in. Just separate them by commas. Now if we run this, you'll see 6 and 7 appear. Now let's go a little bit farther and let's see what we can do if we were to add them together. So let's say actually we want x to be oh, we don't want to redefine it there. If I were to have typed let x, it now thinks it's a brand new variable that it's never seen. So in this case, we want to say, hey, x, I want you to be equal to x and y. So if I do that, let's see what happens. Will this add y onto it? Looks like the answer is going to be no. It actually is just y because we said x is contained, let x's box be equal to what's inside of y. You can really just replace these over. So we're not talking about whenever we reference a variable, we're not talking about the box. We're talking about what's inside the box. So we're saying inside box X, put contents of box Y. So when we print it, it's really just Y got put inside of X. So what we really want is we want what's inside of X and what's inside of Y to be put inside of X. The reason I'm going over this is because the way the computer executes it is it will look to compile this, and once it figures out what needs to be put in the box, then it will put it in the box. Pretty common sense, the way you do it in the real world. If someone said, hey, go put all of the Halloween and the Christmas inside that box, you don't first go throw stuff inside the box. You go find the Christmas stuff, you go find the Halloween stuff, you get them together, and you put them inside the box. Same way as the computer. If you want to make it so your brain never forgets that, think about it like this way in PEMDAS. First, you're going to execute this stuff, then it's going to be put inside of X. So let's console log it now and see if that worked. Yep, we've got 13. We have 6 and 7 inside of there. But what about if we want to do it a little bit different? What if we want to say, hey, X, you have the contents of X minus Y. What will happen then? Well, we get -1. It works the same way. Same thing with division and multiplication. But before we go on, I want to take a real quick step back and let's go and see. There's got to be an easier way to write this, right? Kind of would be terrible if I always have to say, hey, have a box and it's got X inside of it, but then go and put Y inside of it as well. If I already have that thing inside the box, right? It almost seems like I'm taking it out of the box, going and getting Y, and putting it all back inside. What you can use is a cool little operator. If I say plus equals, so it says, hey, whatever's inside X, add to it Y. So whatever was inside of X originally, just add in Y. So we use the same little assignment operator, but just this little plus in front of it. And the same thing works. So first let's console log and make sure that we still get our 13 when we add 6 to 7. We get our 13. That's awesome. Now let's go down to this guy and see if we can make it look simpler as well. So we can't use the plus in front, but we can use the minus in front. So if we run that, we should still get our -1, which is perfect. So now let's keep going down through the list and let's use our new concept where we don't have to do it extra fancy. We're just going to say, hey, x divide equals y. This one's going to be a little goofy because, it's going to be some fat number. But it works the same way. Division's going to work the same way. Let's change this guy actually to 12. That way we know. I don't know if 8.8571 is the right number. But yep, when we've got it almost backwards. So, hey, 6 over 12 is 0.5. Yep, we know that's right. So let's go on to the next one. Let's do some multiplication. So here, if we were to say, hey, we were to do times equal y, well, what should it be? That's a big number. That's like 72. So we get 72 that logs out. So everything's working just fine. So again, this is the assignment operator. You can either do x is assigned, so I'll just write it right next to it so you can see the difference between the two, is x plus y, or you can write it this simple way where you say, hey, whatever I have inside x, add y to it, which I think is the way normal people think about it. They don't think, hey, change x's box to be equal to x plus something else and then assign it. Kind of backwards thinking. But thank you for joining me for today. We're going to go over a little bit more JavaScript in the next video. So I'll see you there. Adios.